Okay, now it's gone.
There.
Okay. So, November 10th, you become a citizen again.
November 10th, I became a citizen.
1969.
1969, yeah.
What did you want to do?
I have a job in the kibbutz. I was a lifeguard.
Ah. And
I
was
was
that a
a
very
lifeguard.
coveted job?
It was, yeah, it was, I didn't even have a certificate. I didn't even take a course. I was a good swimmer in high school. He's a good swimmer, he can swim.
There you go, you're the lifeguard.
So, now, the fact that while you were gone, the 6-Day War happened, did that affect life in the kibbutz at all when you came back? Was anything different?
Not really. It did affect just before the war, during the war and a little bit after, but after that...
No, okay.
Yeah, they dug during the a little bit before and during the war. They dug tunnels in the kibbutz just in case they'll have to jump.
Oh, like a bomb shelter.
Bomb shelter.
Wow.
It wasn't really a bomb shelter because it was open. I don't know. I don't know the logic. They'll jump in and they put something over them, but that was the thinking then.
Yeah.
And thankfully it didn't
Wow,
happen.
so lifeguard. So you went from being in the military to a lifeguard.
To a lifeguard.
Wow.
I did. What was interesting when I was in the military, we all valued ourselves that we combat soldiers, and we just used to make fun of those soldiers that were fixing cars, and doing those stuff. I mean, these stuff that it's not combat. When they got out of the military, they got jobs right away. We didn't get jobs right away. I'm a combat soldier. Well, I had some jobs with security. With security. With some of the defense ministry jobs, but there was a lot of competition on those because in Israel, most of the soldiers was a combat soldier. But I didn't have to fight for jobs going in the kibbutz.
So you never thought about moving to Haifa or moving to Tel Aviv?
No, never. I always thought that I will be a kibbutnik, and I live, the rest of my life.
Never thought you'd work for a car company in America?
Yeah, in the title of Erica.
Right.
And John is a son-in-law. It all started in 1973 war. 1973 war was a real bad one.
So were you lifeguarding the entire time?
I was lifeguard in the summer, and in the winter I used to work in the factory, in the wood factory of
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, that's what you did?
Yeah, since 1969 to 1973. Yeah.
What did they make in the factory?
They make boxes for bombs and bullets. And do you know who was one of our best customers? Iran.
Ha!
Shah. The Shah, when the Shah was in Iran, I mean, he was a partner with the United States, Israel. We sold them a lot of, to the Iranian, a lot of weapons in Israel. So some of the boxes, and we had boxes for fruit and vegetables, that you carry.
Wow.
I don't know what they make now. The factory is still there, and I know that the number of workers is a lot less.
Wow.
Less. And it's owned by the kibbutz, but when you work there, you get paid. We didn't get paid. We got everything we needed. And we thought that we work harder than anybody else. And so in 1973, on October 5th, right next door. It was a Friday, and in the kibbutz, the best event of the week was Friday night dinner. All the kibbutz gathered in the Chadar Ochel, in the dining room, and it was great. And we had somebody read something or sang something. I mean, for a very short time. And then we had a meal. That was the time that you met everyone.
Well, wasn't there something like you got meat that day, or wasn't there something with the food too?
We had every time meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had I think 1 week chicken, yeah, beef, chicken, no pork. Or maybe the beef was kind of pork.
Yeah.
One on June 5th.
October 5th.
October 5th, Friday night, after the meal, when you're full, somebody came and said, hey, let's fast tomorrow. The next day was a day of atonement. The next day was Yom Kippur in Hebrew, Day of Atonement. The holiest day of the Jewish religion, which didn't affect us. So we all said, hey,
Why not?
why not? Let's try to see what they go through. And how, what does it mean to starve to death? 1:30 the next day, the war broke out. I started the war with fasting.
So what sparked the war? So what happened?
The Egyptian and the Jordanian, no, not Jordanian, the Egyptian and the Syrian coordinated attacks on Israel in that day.
Where in Israel?
In Sinai.
Okay.
Sinai and the Golan Heights. The Syrian took over the Golan Heights. The Syrian ruled the Golan Heights for 14 hours. They thought that Israel is putting something by the Jordan River. Some, the concentrate some military ambush.
Mm-hmm.
So they stopped for 14 hours, and that was the time that Israel reorganized and started pushing back.
Okay.
And I was in that force. I mean, unlike the six days war, 67, that I was in the war. 1973, my unit was supposed to be in the war. We didn't. We were the second wave.
Okay, so how did you find out that you had to go, that you were getting drafted?
They came and picked me.
Anyone else from the kibbutz, or just you?
Me and Mordechai and Avi and two other guys that were in my unit.
So just out of the entire kibbutz, it was just the three of you?
No, it was we were the first ones.
Okay.
And that was at 1:30 p.m. It was a warm day. The swimming pool was still open. I was a lifeguard. We were in the swimming pool where a soldier came there and asked people, where is Yishai Vitkin? Say, here, he's in the pool. And I was in the pool physically.
Yeah.
So he came and kind of pulled a list. Says, oh, Yishai Vitkin, okay, marked that he was supposed. He marked, and somebody, some people thought that it was a bad joke. Yeah, they thought he was joking. He said, you're being called to the military. You're being called it, and it's an emergency. And people started freaking out. It's a day of the atonement, the holiest day of the Jewish religion, and you joke around like this. It's not a joke. I was sent. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
And while he was talking, we saw the jet fighters. And on Yom Kippur, on Day of Atonement, there's no transportation, no communication, no radio, no TV, nothing. All of a sudden you see that. So we knew So yeah.
So it was strategic that they chose that day to attack.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
So what went through your head?
I had no idea.
Were you like, did you feel pride that you were being called, or were you scared, or?
First of all, I was hungry.
So that was the.
I was hungry, and when you're hungry, you're angry.
Yeah.
I thought, I probably will break my vows with the food, and I'll eat somewhere. I didn't eat for 36 hours because we were moving, and the supply was behind us. They didn't reach us.
Yeah.
I remember eating some fruits, and
Oh.
so from a fun, it became a suffering.
Yeah.
So turned out to be the 12 was the first one. After that, there was a flood and the radio came up, and they started putting some pass code in the radio. Every unit has a pass code, and they know that when they say it in the radio, that word, you gotta go as soon as possible to that place in Israel,
Uh-huh.
It was very chaotic. The whole thing was very chaotic. Nobody knew. And the tanks in my unit, 75% of the tanks could not function.
Oh.
So the maintenance. Israel learned a lot from this war.
Because they weren't
didn't
maintained
maintain.
from the last one.
And why? Because 67 victory was a euphoria. I mean,
You thought you were untouchable.
exactly. So why take care of the tanks? Why take care of the airplane?
It's smooth sailing for Israel from here on out.
We were ruling the last 75. And if you're a tourist and you drove by the Golan Heights on the Israeli side, you would see on the road the chain of the tanks broken. A lot of them broken.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So
unbelievable.
how long was it from you being in the pool to at the military base getting
Yeah,
instruction? Was that just hours?
Yeah, it was hours because we were, and it wasn't even a bus. It was it was a big truck.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sitting and bouncing, and they went to all the kibbutzim around Ena Shofet, Dalia. So took us and some of the people I knew. It's not that I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
Some I knew. So we first joked. That was nice that we just got to meet. We don't see each other all year round. But then it became a when we get to the base, which was very close to the Sea of. It was north of Sea of Galilee.
Oh, okay. So it was
We
a
got to
couple
the
hours
base.
away.
Yeah, we got to the base, and at that time the roads were not as good as now. We got there and we met, and they gathered us and they told us that the Syrian attack. We didn't know that the Syrian attacked. We were sitting there, just looking up. You see the Golan Heights there. Syrian were crawling right there. And then I heard some stories, unbelievable. So, people were heroes. I mean, really, saving lives and stuff. So that was 73 war. So after the war, when the war was over, it wasn't 6 days like 6 days war. It was a lot more than that.
How long was it?
The war started in October 6th, I think October 21st, which was like
Okay.
2.5 weeks later.
And what was your role?
I was I was with the jeeps. In the desert. It's like if you're in the desert, you are really going in front of the tanks to make sure that the path that they go, it's not sand. because on the sand they can sink
Oh.
right away. In the Golan Heights, you can't find much function for this kind of unit. It's not. Its unit was there's a lot of pride. We're in the jeeps but let's face it, and the Golan Heights, it's not even a good place for tanks. But tanks did the job,
Yeah.
not us. We were on June 22nd, October 22nd or 23rd. We could see Damascus. We're standing on the Golan Heights. We're ready to push. The last push on Damascus were Henry Kissinger, which was the Secretary of State of Richard Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
He came to Israel. I mean, not to us, not to our, but the government of Israel, and said that we better stop right here. Don't move even 1 inch, because the Russians supported the Syrian and the Egyptians.
Did you feel betrayed because it's Mother Russia?
Yeah. Okay, that's another. In 1960, it started in 1967. By the way, your grandmother was on the last tour of the Soviet Union before the War of '67 and before Russia cut ties with Israel, which was in 1966. At the end of not the end of '66. She went on a tour, but in 1967, when the war broke up, the Russian cut ties with Israel, and that's where Israel officially went to.
America?
United States. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So in 1973, Russia and Israel were established enemies.
Okay.
I mean, if Russia and Israel went to war, I believe Russia would have wiped Israel in seconds.
So the United States didn't want Israel to move into Jordan. They wanted them to defend themselves, but not go.
Yeah.
Or not Jordan, Syria.
Syria, yeah.
But not go like on an offense, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that they didn't mind, but except that Russia threatened to jump in the war. Mm-hmm. If Russia jumped in the war, the United States doesn't have a choice at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we stopped. We were all kind of disappointed. I don't think that we were extremely disappointed that we don't. We wanted to see, to see Damascus, to see how Damascus looks like.
You can see it from the Golan Heights. Is it right on the border?
It's not, but
you're really high up, right?
That point that we were, it was in the place that today's Syria, but then it was we pushed, we took back the Golan Heights and we pushed, back to Syria, and we were on a mountain that in good days, I think Damascus was like 25 miles away to the north.
Oh, wow.
And the land there is beautiful. In Lebanon and Syria, it's really beautiful. It's like Switzerland. So when the war was over, I was in that time in the military for 6 months.
Wow.
For 6 months, and in April of 1974, I came back to the kibbutz. I was a lifeguard, and I always wanted to be a gym teacher, a phys ed teacher. I thought track and field, and I asked the kibbutz to send me to school, and they say, you gotta prove yourself. What exactly does it mean to be a kibbutznik for several years? So we can see that you really intend to stay here, then we'll send you.
Oh.
Then, several months later...
He's chewing on a thing with a bunch of nails in it. And it's all red. I think he cut himself and he's still chewing on it.
Ted.
What, Ted? And we hear it over here. Where was I?
So they wanted you to prove yourself. You wanted to be a gym teacher.
They want to. And several months later, a young woman that was a daughter of my father's friend that came from Lithuania with, and he was in charge of that committee in the kibbutz, in charge of whom to send. And she went. She is not. She was not in.
So were there only a certain amount of people?
Yes.
That could go
yeah.
per year?
What's good for the kibbutz? They always look at it. It's not.
Oh,
what's
because
good
none
for
of you had money. The kibbutz would have to pay the tuition.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, why would I take the? I didn't have money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately now, I didn't have when my parents died, or I didn't get any inheritance because they didn't.
They didn't have
money.
anything.
No, they had love.
You got extra meals at the Hetero.
So, in summer of 1974, I requested from the kibbutz what they call a year of absence from the kibbutz, like break.
Yeah.
I'm still a member, but I walk out. I make money for traveling, for hiking.
Mm-hmm.
I like many young soldiers after the war, they wanted to go someplace for a couple of months and to to clean their heads.
Yeah.
Before they come back, and that's exactly what I thought. In 1974, when I went to that year of absence, to go to work, make money, and while I'm working, I still live in the kibbutz. I have an apartment in the kibbutz, and I come back in the weekend, and to make money, to go to Europe for a couple months.
Yeah.
Clean my head and come back like a brand new kibbutznik. And maybe by then they'll allow me to go study phys ed. And so I went and I worked for the defense ministry.
Oh.
They asked me if I work on bulldozer, and all this heavy equipment, and I think that was one of the first time in my life that I remember. Maybe I did before that I really lied. Sure.
I thought you weren't capable of lying.
Yes. I was so determined, and the guy, he knew right away that I'm kibbutznik, and kibbutzniks never lie. I was accepted. We drove from Tel Aviv to Sinai. 14 hours. 14 hours. We as soon as I got there, I thought that I'm going for an interview, in Tel Aviv,
Mm-hmm.
in an apartment. Usually when you're interviewed for all the security job, all the defense ministry, it's very weird. You don't go to an office, to a conventional office, coffee, in an apartment or in the back of a restaurant,
Yeah.
And that's what I had on the third floor. And you walk up there. By the time you get, even though I was athlete, 14 hours we drove, and there was a bulldozer. They were digging there. A line of defense that go across Sinai, that just in case the Egyptian will attack again, it'll be another, defense line, so they cannot go straight.
Like a trench?
A trench, yeah. It was a trench with all the stuff, and very long, and it was in the sand. So when you dig in the sand, the top, it's soft, and when you dig, it's a little harder, but it's not rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on a bulldozer. I have no idea what the front of the bulldozer, what the left of, what the back of the bulldozer, but it was right next to the base there were some soldiers there, and the soldiers knew how to operate it, and they knew exactly who I was. I mean, they didn't know me by name, but they saw, people like me that said that they knew.
That lied, yeah.
and he put me there. He didn't even test me. He put me there and he threw the keys and the box, the toolbox and left because he was in a hurry. And I was standing there. Okay, what am I gonna do now? The soldiers came and said, "Okay, we know."
Oh man, that's so lucky.
And they showed me what
Oh, so did the guy ever find out that you didn't know?
No.
All right. So, would you spend 5 days working and then you'd go back on the weekends?
Exactly. Even though in Israel, even today, Israel...
It's 6 days, right?
6 days. Israel work a week is 6 days, and I think the official is like 44, 46 hours a week, because Friday it used to be 8 hours, but even in my times they used to work until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So I just I worked there and I made good money. I made pretty good money. I didn't use that money. And around June, and I also worked at Sharm el-Sheikh. Did you hear of Sharm el-Sheikh? Is in the tip of the Sinai Peninsula, in the tip. And I wasn't doing the work with heavy equipment. I was a guard. There was some warehouses for of the defense ministry that they needed people to guard it, and I was one of them.
So you were bulldozing and being security.
Security,
Wow.
yeah. And I had a pistol. In the meantime, I also took 2 courses. One course to be a sky marshal, and our instructor was Dave from the CIA. He was 65 years old. That's what he said. He didn't look like 65, but he came to somebody. The first day he came to somebody and say, "Mr. Yishai Vitkin, we are athletes with gun in the hand." And the guy, and it wasn't me. It was somebody else. I don't know. He knew that I was a long jumper. He didn't know me personally, but somebody which I suspect that were among the people that ran the whole thing knew me, and told him that among his students there, one of them is Yishai Vitkin with track and field.
Yeah.
So he came to a guy that he thought was Yishai Vitkin, and he was a little guy, and he said, "Yishai Vitkin." It wasn't even Yishai, and the guy started, he didn't know what to do, and he kind of looked at me like telling me, tell him. But, and then I got hurt.
It was during the combat, right? Krav Maga?
In the course, in Krav Maga, yeah. I was hurt. My rib got cracked. So I couldn't shoot, and it's interesting that I'm left-handed, but I shoot with my right hand.
Oh, really?
Crazy, huh? So my rib, my right.
Like a left-handed problem?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, Erka is a complete lefty. I'm, sort of crazy, mixed.
Yeah, because you're right-footed.
I'm right-footed,
Yeah.
I'm right-footed. I used to long jump with right foot, even though my left foot was a lot stronger. Now my knee of the left foot is the one giving me a hard time.
Oh.
So and then I went to take another course. They said, okay, you can continue, but you get a chance in the next time in 3 months. Okay, but the next month came another opportunity to be a security guard in an embassy, in an Israeli embassy abroad, like in Rome, in Paris. So that's pretty good job. You do your guarding, and then you do, and you stay there and you earn money. I mean, what better than that? And I had a girlfriend in Ramat HaShofet from Australia, and one day she showed up in our dormitories where we did that course, and it was supposedly secret. You know, it Defense Ministry or Secretary of State. It's all secret.
Yeah.
It was secret. She was sitting right in the sitting on the lawn in front of the dormitory.
Yeah.
And when we came from lunch, all the guys said, "Oh, she came for me. Oh, I will take her. Okay, guys, don't worry." And all of a sudden, she saw us, and I didn't say anything because I knew she ran to me. And I don't need to tell you that I was thrown out of that course.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. Wow. Why
Seriously?
did I broke the code. I mean, I told her where we are.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not that I was.
Okay.
Oh, how stupid I was, but still am. But
oh, that's funny.
oh, I'm telling you, I was so down on myself. The head of the course at that night, he told me that he wants to take me out for dinner in Tel Aviv, and I said, wow, that's very, very strange, because we all did our training, and all of a sudden we were, and on the way to Tel Aviv, he said, "Yishai, with all due respect to you, you're good candidate. You broke the code of conduct. How did you find out that we're here?" She don't tell me she's an Australian agent.
Yeah.
That's what she So, at least they didn't, that they didn't come to me and say, you are, at least
Yeah,
he
they did it in a nice
had the
way.
decency to tell me. I still was down myself.
Yeah.
And then she left. She's one of those that inspired me to go to Europe, to travel by my own, to meet other people. She left at the end of 74. She left, and she went to Spain, to one of the islands. And her friend from Australia, her father was the Australian consulate in Spain.
Oh, okay.
They stayed on an island, she and a friend. When I was in Sweden, several months later, I got from her a postcard at the time, saying, "Come to that island. Bob and I will show you the island." Who the hell is Bob? At that time, I was very quick to get mad.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm on talking mode like
So,
Sugar.
you were just discharged from the
discharge.
international security. So,
Yeah, from that course.
from that course.
From that course, yeah.
Now what happens?
So okay, so that was yeah. I talked about that job that I had with heavy equipment, with a bulldozer. Okay, this came after that course.
Oh,
So it
okay.
got mixed. Yeah, this came after that course, and then the guarding came after that.
Okay.
So the heavy equipment job and the guarding altogether were like 9 months.
Okay.
In June 1975, I gathered whatever I made, and I flew to Rome.
Why Rome?
Because first of all, I didn't have any plan what I'm going to do. At that time, it was very common in Israel to post in the newspaper a message, do you want to travel together? Two guys are going to Europe, do you want to
come?
join us?
Yeah.
And I heard some horror stories about it, people don't agree with each other. And the last thing that I wanted to have is is want to go to one place and somebody else want to go to another, and compromise.
Yeah.
So, you know, I did.
Hey, Sammy. Sorry, you can keep talking.
Sammy is instigating. Sammy.
There we go. All right, so you didn't want to compromise.
Yeah, I didn't want to compromise. And besides, as I learned that when you travel in Europe by yourself, you meet so many people on the road, and you stay a day with this guy, 2 days with 6 months. So why? And I also saw, before I traveled, the two couples, I mean, not at the same time, two separate times. A couple that decided to get married and said, okay, we will, just before we are making this commitment, let's go to travel, just like this. And they came back separate.
Yeah.
You have so much, it's tension, and in a way, it's good idea to test how, to test, how you live together and get along. But on the other hand, I don't know. So I just went by myself and to Rome because my friend that lives now in Florida, he was a security guard of
The embassy?
of the airport.
Oh.
So he was in charge of all the the one in the Israeli airline, only Israeli airline that come and they check your luggage and stuff. He was in charge. Those were one of the 3 weeks period best in my life. That's a guy I think I told you about. He he actually was born in Lithuania, in Vilna, in the same cities that you and Jessica were. And he came to us to Israel when he was 10 years old. He speaks now 7 languages.
Wow.
He speaks Arabic, speaks Italian, Russian, he speaks Yiddish. Beautiful. Well, I cannot say, he sounds beautiful, I didn't understand it. But he's a good guy, he has good sense of humor. So we spent, great time in Italy, I mean in Rome. And he taught me a sentence, dove c'è telephone. Where is the phone? Like when I get lost, go to the store, dove c'è telephone. And I call him to
Come help you.
It was really good, and he was married then to his first wife. His first wife that I knew her before him.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, everything is so small in Israel.
Yeah.
Tangling.
So you spent 3 weeks in Rome?
I spent.
And so is that the first time you were out of the country?
No.
No.
I represent Israel in track and field in 1966 in Greece.
Oh.
It was and at the time to go out of Israel, it was unheard of, and to go with the sport group, it's unbelievable. So in 1966, it was in the period between my finishing high school to the military. It was from between June and November of 66. That was the time that we lived in the kibbutz. At that time, we didn't live with our parents. We lived in our own rooms or our own dormitories, but in Ramat Shafet, not in the high school. And I saw my parents every day. But again, I wasn't. I mean, I loved.
Wait, so 66. So was this right before you went to the military?
Military, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, just before. Yeah, it was between high school and
Gotcha.
military. So in July, just about a month after graduating, oh, mom, remember mom?
A big spectacle.
When everybody watched.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you had been out of the country before.
And also, between 1971 and 72, I trained for the Olympic Games in Munich. I was actually on the Israeli team that trained from Munich, and why and why it's something that happened only in Israel. Here it could never happen. There was a competition in in 1970 or 71 that I had a great jump, but it was a foul. My coach didn't give up. He went and he put a mark on where I landed. Okay, you could see that it was a great jump, really good jump. So he put a mark. At the end, he went and measured it, and it was better. It was better than the standard that at the time established for Munich.
Yeah.
So I'm on the team. It's not that I was accepted to the team. I had to pass that distance or more, at least that 2 more time, and the second time, or even the first time, should be within 6 months of the Olympic game. So I was on the team. I didn't make it. The people
God.
made it like 3. 3 made it. But the rest of us, like 20 of us, they sent us in 1972 to Austria for a competition of the workers. They call it, the workers championship. So we went to a city named Graz, which is I think on the western side by the Alps.
Mm.
Beautiful city.
Oh, how old were you then?
1972, I was 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you when you watched Munich?
Okay, and we were supposed to end up in Munich.
To watch.
The tip of the trip was to go just before Munich and end up in Munich to watch the Olympic Games. But for some reason, it was cancelled. Probably they didn't have money. So a week a week before Munich, we called back to Israel. And and some side story that in Austria when we boarded the Israeli airline plane, who was the sky marshal on the plane? Yoav Steinman, my cousin from Los Angeles.
He was
the
an
sky
air marshal?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He was sky marshal.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a sky marshal, and he broke all the rules. Okay, yishai, מה he was not supposed to show that he knows, because he's secure. I mean, he has to concentrate on terrorists. Not. He was sitting next to me. He didn't. Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yoav,
That's the one that I went to visit in LA.
Yeah.
And when I was now in LA, I reminded him that, and said, "Oh, you don't know what trouble I went."
Did they have a sky marshal on every flight?
Yes, every flight, and the good thing about it that you when you fly to United States to JFK, you stay here for one night. Sometimes you stay over the weekend, and you stay in a hotel. They pay for it. They pay for the meals. So you get to see the world really good.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good money. I don't know what they do now, and I don't think that it's very popular among the youth, because when I'm in Israel and I talk to the guy to the kids, I don't hear about it much. Like my time, it was, if you got that job, that's the jobs I got here. If you get job, I mean, if you get that job, your chest is way out there.
Yeah.
You walk in Tel Aviv and your chest like 15 minutes ahead of you.
Yeah.
But I was in the kibbutz at the time. They had very few TVs. There wasn't TVs for you to watch. So I remember watching Mark Spitz, swimming. On September 5th, I wanted to send you, Jessica and Mom,
Email?
email that that's the day that the murder in Munich happened. The swimming was done by then, so Mark Spitz got his 7 gold medal. But very few people know that one of the first athletes that they whisked out of Munich was Mark Spitz, because he's Jewish, and they might go on him. They might try to kill him.
I did not know he was Jewish.
Yeah, me neither. Spitz, I guess that makes sense.
And I don't know if I told you, but in 1965.
Hey,
Come on. 1965.
1965, I represent Israel in the Jewish Games in Tel Aviv, and I was sitting in the Olympic Village with my friend Yitzhak Sigora from another kibbutz, and he was a javelin thrower, and I was sitting with him when a young guy, took a chair and came to us and said in English, "Hi, I'm Mark. My name is Mark Spitz."
Ha!
He was 15 years old. And
were you like, get out of here?
And we didn't know English.
Oh.
And we said, yes, come. And he said, well, you don't know me, but my sister Nancy Spitz, his older sister, was a big name there. So saying I'm a brother of Nancy Spitz, that make you famous.
was she a swimmer too?
Yeah, she was winning everything. She was winning. So he's her brother, a younger brother. So we told our friends, hey, guess whom did we talk to? We talked to Mark Spitz.
The brother.
Okay, yeah, you don't know Mark Spitz, but he's a brother of Nancy's. So when they heard, wow.
Oh, that's so funny.
And several years later, I remain unknown, and he spread. You probably don't know, but in Mexico, that the media thought that he's gonna make a big splash. He won only bronze, and he claimed that part of the reason why, because he talked to the media. In 1972, it didn't grant any